We've designed the Quidsy match betting guides in such a way that you don't actually have to understand the inner workings of match betting. We've made the step-by-step super simple, and I'm going to make it even easier for you by walking you through your first match betting offer. The match betting offer is William Hill's bet £10 and you get £30 in free bets, and that's going to be worth a profit of around £20. Not only will you bank that £20 tax-free profit, but you'll also realise just how simple these offers are. And once you have one offer under your belt, then going through the rest of the match betting offer guides on Quidsy is an absolute breeze. Why use Quidsy for match betting? Well, Chris and I have actually helped over 100,000 people make over £10 million profit from match betting. So you're in safe hands. For more information on that, check out the Our Story on the Quidsy website. So, without further ado, let's get stuck into our first offer. This is the offer. It's William Hill, bet £10, get £30 in free bets. It's going to be worth around £20 in profit, and it's going to take us roughly 25 minutes. As I mentioned, it is a lot faster once you have the first offer under your belt. We'll probably get that down to around 10-15 minutes per offer once you get the hang of it. And then you scroll down, you have the key terms, again the profit, the deposit amount for each respective part of the offer, £10 onto William Hill, and then we're going to need to deposit £140 onto Smarkets. This money is returned to you. It's not spent. You get the £150 back plus the £20 profit on top. Then the qualifying bet for the promotion, which is bet £10, and the odds have to be above 1.5, which we'll get to in a little bit. Deposit method, you've got to make sure that it's a debit card deposit. Qualification window, you have to place your qualifying bet 14 days after you register. So don't register and then forget about it. You're going to need to do it within 14 days. The free bet is credited on the bet settlement, which means once the match on the bet has finished, then they give you the free bet. And then once you get your free bet, you've then got to use it within 7 days or you lose it. Next, we get to the start of the offer. So it is set up your Smarkets account. Smarkets is where we're going to be using the opposite bet for what we place on the bookmaker. So if we bet on England to win on William Hill, we then use Smarkets to bet on England not to win. Useful because on Smarkets, it covers both the draw and the England loss. So that's why we're needing a Smarkets account. So simply click Create a Smarkets account. You'll then see a page like this. You'll click Create an account and then go through the steps. Once you have the Smarkets set up, click I have set up Smarkets. And then we're on to the next step, which is sign up with William Hill, which is the bookmaker. So we click Visit William Hill, and this then loads the William Hill promotion page, which should then match the promotion that we have in the offer guide. Click Get Started, and you should see already the promo code that is mentioned in our offer guide has already been applied. Click Let's Get Started, and that's then going to be where you enter your personal details and get signed up to William Hill. One thing we're going to do whilst we're here is scroll down to odds format, and on every bookmaker pretty much you're going to need to change it because it will be fractional by default. Change the odd format to decimal. On William Hill they're down here, but they're often up in like the account section once you're logged in. So it's back to the guide, and we can click this step as complete, and we're on to the next, which is place your £10 qualifying bet. Now, the qualifying bet is what we call the first bet placed on the bookmaker because it qualifies you for the promotion. So we're going to be betting £10, and that then unlocks the £30 free bet. When we're betting this £10 qualifying bet, we will typically see a small loss from what we place and what we cover on Smarkets. And this is just because Smarkets charges a small percentage commission, and also because the odds on William Hill won't exactly match the odds on Smarkets, so there'll be a slight discrepancy, which is why we typically see a 10 to 30p qualifying loss, we call it. For the qualifying bet, we do want to make sure that the bet that we're placing is pretty soon into the future. We don't want to be waiting too long for it to settle. and we want to make sure it's above odds of 1.5 if we remember from the key terms, and we want to make sure that as I say, the back odds, which are the qualifying bet odds on the bookmaker, are as close to Smarkets as possible. And so rather than hunting for hours trying to find the closest odds, we literally find them for you with our very clever qualifying bet finder. So click find my qualifying bet, that'll then find it for you. And look, we've got very close odds, 3.2, 3.25, and we have a qualifying loss of 29p. The bet that it's found us is actually tomorrow. Today is the 23rd of June. Switzerland versus Canada, and it's in the World Cup, and the selection is for the match to be a draw. It doesn't matter what it tells us to bet on, the outcome is always going to be the same because we're going to be hedging it on Smarkets and making sure that we don't risk any money. So then we scroll down to the next step, which is to place the bet on William Hill. So we click and it'll take us to the exact match, Switzerland versus Canada. Now, in bookmakers, they sometimes call the match results a different name. Here it's called match result, and then there's a different selection. We're going to want match result 90 minutes. And then it says in the guide what it's called on the bookmaker, so you don't get confused, so you're not selecting the wrong market by mistake. So it says in the 90 minutes section, select draw, and the odds should be 3.2. And yep, 90 minutes, draw 3.2. We select that, and then we place down here, we'll place a £10 bet. Just to bring it to your attention, if the odds have changed at all from when you found the qualifying bet through our finder, if it's slightly different, it doesn't make a great deal of difference, but we do say if it's between 2.85 and 3.55, you can then click this button and it will find you a new match that's more up to date. Now this is the important part. We're going to want to make this risk-free by doing the opposite on Smarkets. So we click sell on Smarkets. This will then take us to the game again, Switzerland versus Canada. One thing to point out is that by default, Smarkets are showing a percentage, and they also only show the buy column. So we're going to head up here and select this icon, and this is where we then change it from percentage to decimal, and then so that it's not just the buy price only, we then click both prices so that we can see, okay, yes, I'm selecting the right sell column. It's in a slightly different place on mobile, it's worth noting. On mobile, it's in the account section once you're logged in. So, in this example, we've placed the draw on William Hill, and we now have to place the opposite on Smarkets, which is the draw, and it is the sell column under draw, which is 3.25. Let's just check back in the guide, and it says select the blue button in the sell column next to draw. Odds should be 3.25, which they are. Enter £9.91. The reason it is precise is that we've done the calculations for you. This is to make sure that you do only lose the 29 pence in the qualifying bet finder. And yeah, although you enter £9.91, Smarkets will hold £22.30. So click here and we enter 9.91 and click. This table then shows you what happens next based on the outcome of the match. So if it's a draw, you have William Hill paying out £22 because you've won on William Hill, and Smarkets keeps that £22.30 that was taken out of your account, but obviously they balance each other out except for the 29p difference. If it's not a draw, then Smarkets pays out £9.71 and William Hill keeps that £10 bet that you placed. Again, netting off a minus 29p. Okay, so we can then mark that as complete. And then the next step, which is my favourite step, is then turning those free bets that we get given by William Hill into cash profit. Again, risk-free. So this step is almost identical to the previous step. It's just slight changes in the calculations for the bet amounts. Again, we do that all for you, so you don't have to worry. We do have a separate video on how match betting works if you want to understand the exact calculation. Again, we click this big yellow button Okay, so the free bet finder has then selected for us Turkey to beat USA in the World Cup. It is on Friday the 26th of June at 3 a.m. Our total profit at the end of this is going to be £20.22, and we're going to need £57.76 in Smarkets. Now, you may be wondering why we said at the beginning you need £140 in Smarkets. This is just a rough estimate. It's always going to be different. It's kind of just the maximum amount you need to do this comfortably. In this example, we're not going to need that much. For this step, we only need £57.76. In the exact same way as we did before on the previous step, we click the link, takes us to William Hill, it takes us to the exact fixture. We want Turkey 3.6, let's check that was the same, yep, Turkey 3.6. Here we're actually going to select Turkey, and then it's going to be slightly different than the first step. You can't just simply enter 30. We're going to need to select each of the free bets, which shows up here, one by one. So we're going to select the £10 free bet, place that bet, do it again, select Turkey, place that bet again, and then do it one final time. So 3 times in total, £30 free bets, sorted. We then head to Smarkets, again, clicking sell on Smarkets. Turkey, the sell column is 3.8. Just check that one more time. Yep, 3.8. Good to go. It says enter 20.63 as your stake. And as I mentioned before, it will then keep £57.76 of your balance. Select sell. I've forgotten what it was now. £20.63, and then place that. Your bets should settle around Friday the 26th of June, 5 a.m. So you'll wake up that morning with a net profit of £20.22. So we then mark that as complete. Once the bets have settled, you're either going to have money in William Hill or you're going to have all of it in Smarkets if both of the Smarkets bets won. All you're going to need to do is you're going to need to withdraw from William Hill, and then in total you'll see that you've made £20 in profit. You definitely shouldn't close your William Hill account, because they'll often send future offers, which are called reload offers, that will then try and lure you back into betting with them. And you can actually use these offers, again, risk-free, using match betting, which we'll get to in a future guide. And then we click that step as complete, and ta-da! You've made your £20 in profit. That then gets added to your profit tracker, and you can keep track of all the profits that you make on Quidsy. And then you move on to the next one. And there we go. You now know how to do a match betting offer from start to finish. Your next step is to head to the offers section on quidsy.com and start your first offer. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure that you subscribe so that you can benefit from future videos like it. Thank you.